I understand where Seth is coming from. I do. Everything he said is 100% true. Roman Reigns has had to cheat and politic his way in holding on to that championship title. How? Well, let me explain. He had in his contract about title defenses, where he doesn't have to defend that title on a regular basis. And you know what? In the long run, I think it's tainted and hurt his reign. Then, every title defense, including the one we saw at the Royal Rumble, there's outside interference, and he needs help in order to win those matches. Again, example, Royal Rumble. And Seth Rollins has done a lot for that world championship. It is the lunch pail working man's title. He has been the workhorse. He has been the guy that has been defending that championship, and he's done a lot for that championship. Everything that Seth Rollins in that promo said is 100% true. But let me say this, and why I feel Cody needs to call out Roman Reigns, and maybe as early as Friday night on SmackDown. Cody has nothing to prove when it comes to Seth Rollins. Why? Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes has faced each other 3 times, and Cody has beaten him all 3 times.
Just shaking my head no. I just want the world to know that. I completely disagree. We'll get back to it.
And Bully, that's completely fine. But this is my take.
Yep.
Cody has faced Seth Rollins 3 times, has beaten him all 3 times. Cody has faced Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 and lost. Now, again, outside interference, absolutely. But Cody lost that match at WrestleMania. Tommy, you sat down with Cody, and Cody said that the stage for him to finish the story is at WrestleMania. What's better? For him to face Seth Rollins, the working man, at WrestleMania 40, who has beaten 3 times. And I'll bring this up again. Dallas Cowboys beat the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. The next year, they faced the Buffalo Bills again. I was actually rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs in that championship game. Why? Because the Cowboys had already beaten the Bills. Why do I want to see them beat the Bills again? I don't know if I want to see Cody beat Seth again to finish the story. I want to see him in that position where he's facing the guy that he lost to at last year's WrestleMania. I know Bully's got strong opinions, but Tommy, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
I thought it was an excellent job by Seth, and I think this is a lot to do with CM Punk getting hurt. But I also think about the whole CM Punk thing. I think you were the one that actually prayed at night that CM Punk get hurt, but that's a whole other story.
No, I would never.
I know, I'm
pray
joking,
for
but
somebody to
if
be
he would have won,
That is
you would have taken.
bullshit.
I'm joking, John Cena. But I think if he would have won, you would have taken that unknown laptop and thrown it into the sea. And I wish he kind of did, just so 50 people could see how you actually react. I thought Seth did an interesting job. Maintained my interest. It's a hard spot to be in because the fans did not want it. If you watched it, you start hearing them say no, and then they started chanting Roman. And then Cody's reaction was like, dude, this is the last thing like I would have ever thought of. And Seth made some excellent points. And I kind of think that this was just like a holding period because of everything that happened. It's a great way to get us to go, and wait until Cody makes his announcement. I am in agreement with you. It has to be Roman.
Okay, so Bully, go ahead, because I know you may have a different opinion than Tommy and I.
I'm sticking strictly to storyline on this. You're telling me that Cody does not need to beat Seth because he has already beaten Seth 3 times. The only victory that meant a damn thing, in my eyes, was the victory in which Cody showed his torn pec and was still able to come back and win that match despite a horrific injury. Because that's the moment I think that people truly sunk their teeth into, emotionally invested in Cody Rhodes, because what he was willing to do for their entertainment. We know how bad that injury was. Those 3 victories that Cody Rhodes has over Seth Rollins don't mean a damn thing right now, because Seth Rollins is your WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I would have loved to have seen a promo, and Seth is the one who should have acknowledged Cody's back-to-back victories and put Cody's name in there with Hogan, Michaels, and Austin. Because now it's even more credible. One of the boys is reminding one of the boys of what they were able to accomplish with these names. Damn it, Cody. As much as I hate you, I got to give you credit, because now your name gets mentioned in the same breath as Hogan and Michaels and Austin. That puts even more credibility on Cody Rhodes. You expect the announcers to say it, but if one of the other boys brings it up, man, does that make it that much more credible? But the promo should have been, Cody, you need to beat me, but I need to beat you. You see, Seth beating Cody has to be as important to Seth, because Seth hasn't been able to beat Cody.
See, but Bully, what you just said there, I believe is true. Like, I believe that Seth went out there on Monday night, not for Cody's sake, but for his own sake. Because to me, this match is more important to Seth than it is to Cody Rhodes. Because Seth, he's standing across from a person who he lost to 3 times, not once, not twice, but 3 times. So he needs to beat Cody in order to really look at that champion and say, I am a champion because I was finally able to beat Cody Rhodes. It means more to Seth than it does to Cody. That I completely agree with.
You will hear every professional athlete that has won every championship, every world title. They will say the victories aren't the ones that stick with you. It's the losses. It's the defeats. I love Bully's promo. I really do. And again, I enjoyed Seth's because Seth's was like really got me thinking. Bully added greatness to it. But every great athlete will always say it's those losses that haunt you at night. It's those losses that keep you up at night where you're like, man, like, how did I not win that one?
I would have almost had Seth, this is not the right word, begging Cody to fight him. Because I need to beat you, Cody. Despite the fact that I have this championship around my waist, the championship that your father aspired to put around his waist. The only way I come back from those 3 losses is to defend this championship against you. And then he hits him between the eyes and he says, this is the championship that your father wanted to win. This is the superstar Billy Graham championship. And we know what a workhorse superstar Billy Graham was. We know the workhorse that a Bob Backlund was. That's the championship that defined the era back then, where champions at least defended their championships once a month in Madison Square Garden and the countless other cities that they did during the week. So when I'm hearing Seth say all this, I'm like, he's right. And it also takes you back to the story that I had talked about. The only story that Cody Rhodes has with Roman Reigns is Roman beat him last year. Period. There's nothing else. The real emotional investment is in Seth, Dusty, and that championship. And after watching it last night, I was like, Seth did such a great job of selling me on why I'd rather see that match. There's so much that lies beneath the sea line, the water line with Seth and Cody. There's so much more there.
I agree with everything you're saying.
If
Bull,
you're agreeing, then there's no way you could want to see Cody defeat Roman.
but it's in my brain. And let me ask you, Bully, as a competitor, and I know you're an extremely competitive person, if you have the opportunity like Cody has, are you going up against the person that you know you can beat because you beat them 3 times? Or are you going up against the person that you never beat, that you lost to on the biggest show and the biggest match of your career? Last year, Bully, that was the biggest match of Cody's career, and he lost. How do you not want to avenge that loss from last year if you're Cody Rhodes?
You can want to avenge the loss, but there has been nothing since the loss. There's been no build with Cody. They haven't told me the story of Cody losing sleep every night because of that loss. We haven't had that Brandy and Cody moment like Rocky and Adrian, where Rocky has that self-doubt. Adrian tells him, come on, you can do this. There's been nothing there. Cody lost to Roman. He won the Rumble, and now we're assuming he's going to make the challenge to Roman. But after hearing that Seth promo, and guys, this is my emotions as a fan now. I'm like, wow, this is what I want to see. Yeah, Cody beat Seth in the regular season 3 times, but Seth is now the champion. So yeah, Cody, you beat me, but I'm the champion now, and you're not. And by the way, I need to beat you as the champion. There's so much more substance there.
We heard from CM Punk on Monday Night Raw, and he is out for WrestleMania 40. So, Bully, I'll start with you. How much does that change the plans of the WWE when it comes to not only Cody finishing the story, but the main event picture for the WWE?
Of course it changes everything. You got a guy positioned to do something. We don't know exactly what it was going to be. Maybe, he comes in second in the Rumble. Maybe he was going to go on to the Elimination Chamber and win the Chamber. Definitely a huge monkey wrench thrown in the plans. Plus, it's CM Punk. He just came back. He's one of the most over talents in the entire company, and now he's going to go away for 4 to 6 months. Side note, Punk, hope you get better real soon, dude. So many people, we were talking earlier about the vocal minority and this, but to see people on social media saying, ha, 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 he got hurt or he got what he deserved and this and that. Dude, we are in a business in which we could die at any given moment if something goes wrong. We could be put in a wheelchair if something goes wrong. He could have snapped a nerve in his arm and not had use of his arm for the rest of his life if something goes wrong. You are a piece of shit if you wish things like that on wrestlers. That's enough of that. What I really want to...
McIntyre.
Huh?
You're a Drew McIntyre.
I loved what Drew had to say to Punk.
I did too.
It was amazing.
Listen, I've been talking about Drew for a long time now. Drew's level of believability, the bass in his voice, the no more scream, don't yell and stop whining. So I'll jump right to Drew. The thing that Drew said about being a religious person and the matter-of-factly way he went about this, I'm not a religious person. I'm paraphrasing now, but I prayed every night that something like this would happen to you, Punk, and I'm the one who did it to you. And now I can sleep like a baby. Oh my God. The heel in me was so happy to hear this. And it actually reminded me of the day I looked in Tommy's eyes and said, I don't give a fuck about your mother dying. That's the kind of things that resonate with a fan base. Those are the kind of things that, Drew stuck the knife in Punk at the Rumble because Drew hit the future shock, and that's where Punk hurts his arm, right?
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah, that's where he hurts his arm. That's the knife going in. But what he said to Punk, that's him twisting the knife, pulling the knife out, and putting salt on the wound. It was so good. And if you listen to the people, they were silent, completely silent. They were enthralled by what these two men were saying to one another. And then all of a sudden, Drew hits the line about the religion, and I prayed for this. And that whole place, they weren't expecting that. And you heard the boos. That was Drew McIntyre's moment. And then they ruined it with physicality. I hated the physicality. I despised it. Once in a blue moon, you can reel people in with the words, with the emotions, and just have them so much that you just let that resonate. Let that marinate. Let that be the last thing you hear. And then all of a sudden, we needed physicality. Why did we need physicality? To get Sammy in there? If you needed physicality, it should have been one Glasgow kiss, and that's it. And then run Sammy in. The physical. I watched that physicality last night, and I almost threw my phone at the TV. I was disgusted. I was so happy and so emotionally invested. But what I just heard by the tone, the inflection, the emotion, the way they looked at one another, the way they kept distance from one another and then came together, everything was, it was as perfect could be in my eyes. And then we need to go hit each other? Why? To me, it got no mileage and was only used as a bridge to get to the Sammy run-in. I would have, if I was there, I might have died on that hill saying no physicality. Tommy, just out of curiosity, your opinion on the physicality?
I wish Punk threw left-handed flippers, not right-handed flippers, because that's the hand that was injured to him. It didn't bother me as much as it bothered you. Plus, I have a new iPhone, so I don't want to throw it. I knew why they did it, and like I did like the stomping of the arm, and yes, to get to Sammy coming out there to do something, and also like I mean, Drew was the one who now is getting full credit for taking him out, as opposed to hey, it happened in the Royal Rumble. That's why I didn't mind the physicality, because that clip of him stomping on the arm will be shown whenever CM Punk comes back. And yes, because then I also did like the match with Sammy and Drew, as well as then Drew, not only did he beat him, then he hurt him. He took him out. So I like this darker path that it's going for Drew. And if I'm putting all my chips somewhere, I'm going to move those chips now to the Drew McIntyre card. David.
Yeah, I understand what Bully is saying, but at the same time I understand it because Bully, like you said, there's certain things that are going to make somebody go after someone. And I felt like what Drew said is going to make CM Punk have that go to the level of physicality. And Drew did wind up taking him out and going after that arm. And you do need to have Sam because Drew has to go up against somebody now because CM Punk is out.
And we also have Elimination Chamber coming up. So who's going to have more credibility going into Elimination Chamber?
The intent of Drew going for the arm. That's why I said the happy medium in my eyes would have been if Punk maybe went to go throw and his arm hurt so much and then one Glasgow kiss, bang, drops him. And now you see Drew stretch out the arm and he's going to go to do something to the arm. And then here comes Sammy.
I love when CM Punk approached Drew and said, and when I come back, you're like, I'm coming after you. I would have loved a headbutt. Drew has a great headbutt as well. And then as Punk is like, trying to clear the cobwebs, Drew either sizing him up for the Claymore or something. And then you could hit Sammy's music as well.
Well, the Glasgow
And-
kiss is the headbutt. Tom, I'm just, I don't know if you know that. That's the name of the headbutt.
Oh, I thought it was the kick. What's that? I helped the Claymore. I'm sorry. That's what I thought
Claymore,
you were
yeah.
talking about.
So he did hit him with the headbutt, the Glasgow kiss. Boom, drop him right there, and then pulling out the arm, the intent of stomping the arm,
And then here
then
comes
Sammy
Sammy.
on the save. Right.
Yep.
I felt there was too much physicality in there.
The one thing it did do, and I agree with you, Bully, what came out of Drew's mouth is the best of what we heard from Drew in the WWE. And I've always said I've been on the fence with Drew because when it came to Drew, some of what Drew was saying I can relate to. He has gotten screwed. I almost felt like in a lot of ways Drew's was the babyface, and when Seth would mock him, it made me hate Seth because I felt for Drew. That ended on Monday night with the things that came out of Drew's mouth. Man, that was as full-blown as Drew has been since coming back to the WWE.
And I want to see them follow up on this. I'll take you back to Greg Valentine. Valentine broke Wahoo's leg, right?
Yes.
Wore the shirt, I broke Wahoo's leg. I'm not suggesting that Drew walk around with a shirt saying, I tore CM Punk's tricep. But they need to do something to remind you every single time you see Drew McIntyre that I'm the guy that did this to your hero, CM Punk. If you remind those fans every single time until the day Punk comes back, wow, are they going to want to see Punk get his hands on Drew? I'm not talking about reminding them in 6 months when he eventually comes back. I'm talking about reminding them the entire time.
I also looked at Monday Night Raw, which I really enjoyed because, you know, Punk's segment, it wasn't a promo. It was him talking to the fans and from the heart and saying goodbye. Drew drew me in with his promo. Seth Rollins drew me in with his promo. There's an open spot. There's an open top spot. And who's going to step up? And I think a lot of talents in the WWE have a great opportunity right now, as well as like, hey man, there's a top spot open, and if they're not going to give it to me, I can prove I'm a top main eventer. I mean, honestly, I even put Jinder, do not hinder Jinder. He has stepped up on his return as well. There's a lot of positioning, and I thought that Monday Night Raw showed it. For going into the Super Bowl, how did Brock Purdy get his spot? Someone got hurt. And now we don't even talk about that someone. That someone's been traded because this guy has gotten us to the dance. And, you know, I really like that. And that's why, like, I jokingly said it for the Elimination Chamber. This is where they would call Dolph Ziggler. Hey, dude, we need you. They can't do that right now. So they got to go within to see who's going to be in that, because that Elimination Chamber is a big deal, but also positioning for WrestleMania for who's going to take on Seth.
Well, and that's
Dave,
go ahead, Bully.
Dave, let me follow up what Tommy just said. Do you know why Punk's promo was so great the other night?
Why?
Well, obviously it was emotional, correct?
Yes.
But it was real. Real as in, I can't make it to WrestleMania because I blew out I tore my tricep, but real as in, maybe this just isn't meant to be. I can't get into your brain, Dave, and into your body and try to replicate what CM Punk is going through right now. Only me and Tommy know what Punk is going through. Only Mark could know what Punk is going through. When you get to this time of year as a pro wrestler, and you know you're involved in some major shit with Mania being right around the corner, you get into this mindset of, all right, let's make sure everything goes the right way. This is not the time to get hurt. You go into this very protective mode of every last thing you do. It starts actually the day after the Rumble, because you got to go balls to the wall in the Rumble. You can't take the Rumble lightly. You got to do what you got to do. But once you get past the Rumble, it's like, okay, what am I doing on the house shows? I don't need to do this move on this house show. I can just do the clothesline, because the idea is to get in there, entertain, and get the hell out, because Mania is right around the corner. So to know that you are so close, but in Punk's situation, 10 years of waiting to possibly get to a spot that he dreamed of, the spot that he walked out about, being the main event of WrestleMania. I can't even put into words the level of disappointment that goes on in a wrestler's brain. And how much, go ahead, Tommy.
I'll tell you from the other part of it. My first ever WrestleMania match was taken away from me because of an injury. And don't think that I hated the fact that it happened, but I would have loved to have another WrestleMania moment. And it was taken away. I had 2 matches. I was supposed to be Randy Orton's original opponent at WrestleMania. He got hurt. Done. Literally, I watched it happen. They took it off the board.
And Dave, what has been the biggest moment in it for you in Busted Open history?
There's been the 10-year anniversary party where I knew that a lot of people who didn't believe in this show, that put up every single obstacle that they possibly could from letting this show grow how I knew it could, was going to be present in that building when we did our 10th anniversary show.
So that's the biggest, that's the highlight.
That was where I knew we had to hit a grand slam to shove it right up their ass, and I was able to have that happen. I guess that would be like if something happened to me or something happened or anything that would have prevented that 10-year anniversary show to happen.
Can I say we kind of experienced that? What do we all say about the roast? How amazing the roast was, all that stuff. I wish Violetta had her voice. She was injured.
I was just about to say, Dave, imagine you got severe laryngitis a couple of days before the 10th anniversary, and the doctor told you, Dave, you cannot go do it. If you do, you're going to ruin your vocal cords for the rest of your life.
It would be devastating, and it would be at the point where I'm probably fighting with myself whether I should take that chance or not, because if that 10-year anniversary show wasn't a success, I don't think this show would be at the platform that it is right now. Tommy, go ahead, Bully.
Just think of what's going on. I'm trying to paint a picture of what goes on in Punk's mind. Think of all the BS that has gone on over the past, I don't know, let's call it a year with Punk, from the press conference to all the crap in AEW, to not knowing what's going on with his career, to sitting home. You get the call at the last minute, show up at Survivor Series, the 71 million views, everything is going great. And you sit there and you say to yourself, holy shit, the wrestling gods are giving me another chance. Because trust me, the wrestling gods have a lot to do with it. The wrestling gods are giving me another chance. And this happens to you.
I'll give you another example, because I'm looking right at him, because I had to travel with them. When the Dudleys got moved from WrestleMania to Heat. Do you remember that?
No. What?
It was the Dudleys versus, I believe, Lance Storm and Test.
No, it was Lance and Regal. Somebody had gotten hurt.
And they moved you guys to the pre-show or Heat, and not on Mania. And I saw it in Lance's eyes. I heard it from Bubba. Devon was just like, man, can you believe? But it's a big thing. You're still performing on the show, but no, it wasn't WrestleMania.
Yeah, I forget, something happened with Val Venus or something like that, and they had to pull the match from. That was at Safeco. Excuse me, sorry guys. That was at Safeco in Seattle. We were on Mania, and then something happened that was beyond and we had to get moved to the pre-show. It's Dave. It's such a gut punch. And
Pest was devastated.
And if you're a fixer mentality, I'm a fixer mentality. So's Tommy. I don't even know if you know this about yourself. We're fixers because in the world of wrestling, we've become these it's few and far between, these people who can take things and fix everything. We can take something that's good and make it great. We fix them. And when you are so used to being able to fix things that are wrong in wrestling, and now something happens to you, but you can't fix it, you feel helpless. And that helplessness is just, it's an awful feeling in wrestling. You could see the stress on Punk's eyes the other night. You could see it. Punk has had these bags under his eyes for a long, long time. The wrestling world has brought a lot of stress down on CM Punk. This, dude, I wouldn't wish this on any wrestler.
And listen, I thought his promo on Monday Night Raw, like you said, was as real could get. And what he said is 100% true. You know, he's an entertainer. He wanted this opportunity. But, you know, feel bad for the people who are fighting for their lives. Feel bad for people who are struggling with illness. And that's 100% true. He put things into a very real perspective. But I think I almost wanted to hear from Punk about, man, what this is doing to him on a personal level and what this is doing to his career. Because let's face it, I'm sure Punk wanted nothing more to stand on top of that mountain at WrestleMania and give all his doubters the middle finger. Like, I'm sure that's what Punk really wanted to do. This is his way to vindicate all the wrongs that have happened to him, to the point where all those people, all those detractors made him walk away for 10 years. Then he comes back, gets a second chance, and then the company that gave him the second chance turned their back on him. And now he had a second chance with the WWE. And who knows if this opportunity ever happens? Like he said, maybe it's just not in the cards. Maybe there's a reason why he's never gotten this WrestleMania main event, because it's just not meant for him to have this WrestleMania main event. When his career is all said and done, guys, he may never have it. This was his opportunity, and it wasn't detractors. It wasn't, you know, a big celebrity coming back into the fold. This is just, maybe it's just bad luck that he's never going to get this opportunity to be in the main event at WrestleMania.
And sometimes, Dave, and it's hard to see this now, but if you've seen it enough, and I'm sure Tommy can agree, sometimes these are blessings in disguise. Sometimes when you get hurt in the wrestling business, actually happens for reasons we will not know, but to position you better in the future. Like when you look back at it, you go, holy shit, that injury and that time off actually did me good, because now I get plugged in right here. And who knows, the day CM Punk gets better, Monday Night Raw is in Chicago again. You know what I mean?
It could fall into place, but let me ask you this. I'll ask you first, Bully, and then Tommy, I want to get your take. And I know this is a tough question to ask at this time, but CM Punk came back after a decade of being out of pro wrestling. He was in AEW, got injured twice. Then he comes to the WWE and now gets injured a third time, where he's out for a significant amount of time. At his age and how he's been injury prone since coming back, Bully, let me ask you first, could this be a sign that maybe CM Punk can't do this anymore?
Dave, if this was the NFL, what would they do with him?
They would cut him.
Why?
Because he has shown that he's injury prone and they can't rely on him.
Injury prone. Boom. That's it. Sure. And listen, as wrestlers age, obviously the amount of bumps we can take, the bump card, what we can handle physically, what we're able to do. It happens to everybody. It's just, it's going to be different for Punk. It's different for Tommy. It's different for me. It's different for everybody. He might be shutting down. There's a very good chance with the infrequency in which Punk wrestles. I'd rather wrestle every single night and deal with the pain of wrestling every single night than wrestling sporadically, because the pain of wrestling sporadically and the chance for injury is that much greater. Yes or no, Tommy?
Yep.
I live in a perpetual state of pain and I will for the rest of my life. And I'd rather deal with that than the possibility of something going really wrong in the ring because I'm not in there. Like the other night on the ship, me and Devon closed out the show. We did a run-in, everything like that. We 3D somebody through a table. Dude, I didn't feel great, but I haven't been in a ring in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months now. You go out there and you're like, oh dear God, please don't let me take a wrong step. Don't let me blow anything out. Because this stuff happens as you get older. Men lose muscle mass once you hit 40, right? So if you're losing muscle mass, that's going to affect your ability to pick somebody up or do something, hurt yourself. So many things can go wrong. And yes, they are going wrong for Punk with these injuries. So yeah, you eventually have to weigh it out, the risk and the reward. This guy is so damn good. He's so damn over that we make a gazillion dollars off of this guy. But if we put him in the ring tonight, he could get hurt.
Or if we make plans for him for WrestleMania, now we're taking a chance. And Tommy, I'll ask you, because listen, we all want Punk to recover. We all want to see him back in this position. That's undoubted. But the man's 45. And, there was a 10-year period where he was not in the ring wrestling. Like, if you're the WWE, they may have doubt if you put him in this position again, because since he's been back, he's gotten injured.
Yep. I feel Punk's story coming after this. Yes, I have to go with Drew. You deal with it when you have to go with Drew. After that, it's if we have this big match, if he comes out